This is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com, and in this video we're going to recap the 2017 Triple Crown Series, and we're going to talk about the second half of the year for this 3-year-old crop. Now in the Kentucky Derby, my top choice, Always Dreaming, got the job done. So if you bought my full card analysis, he was my top choice. I suggested a win wager, and he was able to get the job done nicely. I thought he was the best horse. Now some people thought Classic Empire with his trouble may have been best, but I thought Always Dreaming was best because he ran hard throughout. He won the Florida Derby earlier this year, and he looked like he was the best 3-year-old going into the Kentucky Derby, and he didn't disappoint. I like the fact that he was up on the pace from start to finish. Like I said, he ran hard throughout in that race, and he was able to score nicely. Now, Classic Empire ended up finishing a troubled 4th. He's usually stalking the pace, but he was out of position because early on he was bumped and he was pushed further back than he likes to be. But he ended up finishing an okay 4th. But then we came to the Preakness Stakes 2 weeks later, and it was a different story. Now, Always Dreaming, again, he was my top choice, but he just didn't run his race in the Preakness. And you could tell right away, and if you're a fan of Always Dreaming and you watch him run, you can tell from the beginning in the Preakness, even though he went to the lead, it looked like they had to push him to get to that point. He just never appeared comfortable. He never felt like running. He looked like a tired horse. For whatever reason, coming back in 2 weeks, I don't know what the excuse was, but he never fired that day. He quit very early. Classic Empire tracked the pace. He was all over, Always Dreaming from the beginning. He took over the running, and it looked like he was just going to run away with the Preakness under Julian Leparoux, but that wasn't the case. He wasn't able to finish the job. He took a nice, easy lead into the stretch, but Cloud Computing, who was sitting behind Classic Empire and Always Dreaming in the early running, he ran down Classic Empire to win the Preakness Stakes, and Cloud Computing was very lightly raced. That was only his 4th career start, so he was able to win the Preakness and beat Classic Empire. And as I said, Always Dreaming just never really fired that day. So then on to the Belmont Stakes, and in that Belmont Stakes, I had a huge day on my full card. So if you purchased that full card analysis, I was able to have my top choice Tapwrit win the race. I gave out the exacta, trifecta, and superfecta. I think the wagers were like 140 total dollars in wagers, and then I got back over $700 in winning tickets. So that was a very good day for the Preakness, for the Belmont Stakes, excuse me. Tapwrit was able to get the job done for Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher typically does well in the Belmont, and he finished 1st and 3rd. He had Tapwrit and Patch running 1-3. And then Irish Warcry ended up finishing 2nd. He's one that I've always liked. And Irish Warcry was able to get out there and be on the pace, and he just couldn't quite hold off Tapwrit. He ended up finishing a good 2nd, but I think the distance just kind of did Irish Warcry in. That was going to be the biggest question in the Belmont. Could Irish Warcry get that 1.5 miles? He was the fastest horse on paper, and he ran a good race, ended up finishing 2nd. And then the top 2, Tapwrit, Irish Warcry, well clear of 3rd place finisher Patch. Now Patch, again, he was one of those lightly raced horses, only his 4th start. He had run in the Derby. He finished 2nd earlier on. He finished 2nd in the Louisiana Derby. So he's one that's very lightly raced, and now he has a classic placing, and he's one with a nice pedigree, and I think he's going to get better as the year progresses, and maybe especially next year for trainer Todd Pletcher. Now my top 5 3-year-olds right now, and this is the same top 5 that I had going into the Belmont. Number 1 is Always Dreaming. He's won the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. I think he's the top dog right now. He's one that certainly, with time between starts, he's going to be forwardly placed in races like the Jim Dandy, the Travers later this summer. Watch out for Always Dreaming to bounce back with much better race spacing next time. Now, Irish Warcry remains my number 2 ranked colt. He won the Holy Bull and the Wood Memorial, and 2nd in the Belmont Stakes, so he's having a very good year for trainer Graham Motion. He'll probably show up in the Haskell Stakes for his next start. Now, Cloud Computing will be my 3rd ranked 3-year-old right now for trainer Chad Brown. He has 4 lifetime starts with 2 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd, and a big win in that Preakness Stakes, and then a couple of stakes placings prior to that. So he's got a lot of upside with only 4 starts. My 4th ranked 3-year-old right now, McCracken. He disappointed in the Kentucky Derby, but he's going to run in the Matt Winn Stakes next time out. That's on June 17th at Churchill Downs, the Matt Winn Stakes, and if he can win that one, that could propel him into a big second half of the year. And then rounding out my top 5 is Classic Empire. He's only 1 for 4 this year. He was your 2-year-old champion, but he certainly had some trouble. He won the Arkansas Derby. He was a troubled 4th in the Kentucky Derby, and then he just missed in the Preakness Stakes. Maybe some horses to watch later this year in the 3-year-old ranks West Coast for trainer Bob Baffert. And Bob Baffert typically dominates the Haskell, and he may have found his 3-year-old for the Haskell this year. West Coast looked really good, winning the Easy Goer on the Belmont Stakes undercard for Bob Baffert. He's forward. He's the horse that likes to track the pace and be close. Typical style for winning that Haskell. So Baffert, it looks like he's got his Haskell horse. Now, if you're interested in my full card analysis, you can go over to therunawayhorse.com. Click on my sales page. I offer full card analysis each day from Santa Anita Park. And then also, if you would like to join my email list, you can get free full cards and other special offers. The Runaway Horse 2013 at gmail.com is my email. If you send me an email, say you want to join that list, you free full cards. Right now, when Del Mar starts this summer, each Wednesday I'm going to be giving free full cards from Del Mar for anybody on my email list. So if you're interested, one more time, it'll be the Runaway Horse 2013 at gmail.com. I'll be back in a few weeks. I'll be talking more about the second half for this 3-year-old crop. Until then, good luck at the races.